Now we need to talk about ovens, because honestly, this is where many people make one of the biggest mistakes in the entire business journey. They choose emotionally instead of operationally. They buy what looks cool, what is fashionable online, and what somebody on social media told them to buy, or simply whatever looks cheapest. And honestly, that decision can cost them massively later. Because your oven is not simply a cooking appliance. It's the heart of the system. Everything revolves around it. Workflow, output, staffing, fuel consumption, service speed, customer experience, and profitability. Now, one of the biggest misconceptions people have is believing that a bigger oven automatically means better. It does not. An oversized oven inside a confined trailer or van can actually reduce efficiency rather than improve it. Because greater output does not simply come from oven size. Greater output comes from systems, workflow, staffing, preparation, process. You can have a huge oven and still run a terrible service if the workflow is poor. Likewise, you can have a smaller, well-designed system absolutely flying through service because every movement makes sense. Now let's talk about capacity realistically. That equals profitability. But here's the big problem. Larger ovens usually require more staff, more preparation, more space, more dough management, more topping management, and more coordination. And inside mobile catering environments, space is limited. That matters massively, because even if your oven can technically hold 12 pizzas, you still need enough staff, enough operational room to stretch, turn, top, and serve those pizzas properly. Otherwise, chaos appears very quickly. Now, another thing people misunderstand is multiple ovens. A lot of people assume that two small ovens automatically create a better system than one properly designed oven. Honestly, in many cases, the opposite is very true, because every oven behaves completely differently. Different heat, different recovery, different airflow, different cooking rhythm. That massively complicates operation. Now, instead of managing one consistent cooking environment, you're managing multiple heat zones, multiple recovery patterns. And that creates stress, inconsistency, communication problems, quality problems. And honestly, in many cases, it becomes less efficient than one properly designed system. I've seen operators install multiple ovens because visually it looked impressive. Then service starts and suddenly staff are running backwards and forwards, trying to remember which oven is hotter, which floor has dropped temperature, and which pizza went where. Instead of simplifying operations, they accidentally complicate everything. One correctly designed oven with strong thermal mass stability often massively outperforms two badly managed ovens, even 3 or 4 badly managed ovens. Now let's talk about cooking styles, because this matters massively when choosing the correct oven. Neapolitan style, New York style, thin and crispy style, Roman style, hybrid systems. There are so many different types of pizza, and every style has a different temperature requirement, a different recovery requirement, different service speeds. Understanding your target market matters massively, because there is no perfect universal pizza style. There is only the correct style for your business model. If you're cooking fast-paced weddings, you may need completely different operating temperatures than a slower restaurant environment. If you're cooking New York style pizzas at speed, your requirements differ massively from high hydration temperature Neapolitan systems. And this is why blindly copying social media trends can become dangerous commercially. Now, here is another huge lesson. Our customers don't care anywhere near as much about technical dough obsession as many operators believe. Customers care about fantastic tasting pizza, cooked properly, served quickly, in a good atmosphere. Many beginners become obsessed with hydration percentages, sourdough, complicated fermentation, extreme techniques. Now, high hydration absolutely has its place, but honestly, not when you're starting out. Because what begins as a fun process, making 10 dough balls in your kitchen, becomes a completely different reality when you are producing 200, 300, 500 dough balls a day. And then weather enters the equation. Inside mobile catering environments, temperatures constantly shift. Summer heat, winter cold, humidity changes, trailer temperatures, van temperatures. That dramatically changes dough ball behaviour. A dough that works perfectly at 18 degrees centigrade or 64 degrees Fahrenheit can become a nightmare at 36 degrees centigrade or 97 degrees Fahrenheit. Likewise, during winter, a trailer sitting outside at -3 degrees centigrade or 26 degrees Fahrenheit creates a completely different operational environment. If the dough becomes difficult for you to handle, it becomes even worse for inexperienced staff. That destroys service speed and customer experience, which is why process matters more than ego at the beginning. A properly cooked 62% hydration pizza, rolled consistently and cooked beautifully, is infinitely more commercially viable than an 85% hydration pizza that is burnt, soggy, impossible to manage during service. Now let's talk about fuel systems. Wood only, gas only, wood and gas combination. Again, operators become emotional about this topic instead of practical. Wood creates incredible theatre and flavour, but gas creates convenience, consistency, and fast recovery, operational simplicity, and a combination system offers flexibility when designed and certified correctly. Now, this is incredibly important. A lot of ovens advertised as dual fuel are not actually dual fired systems. There is a major difference. Dual fuel often means wood or gas, not both simultaneously. True dual-fired systems allow both wood and gas operation together, legally and safely when correctly certified. And at the time of filming this series, only Bushman ovens hold full BSI approval in the UK for true dual-fired operation. And that matters massively for compliance, insurance, commercial operation, and safety. Now, another huge misconception is domestic ovens versus professional ovens. Many products online are marketed using phrases like "cook like a professional." That does not mean that they are professional appliances, suitable for continuous commercial mobile operation. There is a huge difference between, say, occasional domestic use and continuous professional service. Professional environments demand heat retention, structural durability, recovery speed, and that's why the material quality matters massively. Bushman ovens are not clay ovens. They are individually handmade in England using the highest grade refractory materials available. That thermal mass and that refractory stability massively changes the cooking experience during a heavy service. Cheap ovens often create inconsistent heat, poor recovery, higher fuel consumption, cracking, operational frustration. And honestly, one of the most expensive decisions you can ever make is buying cheap equipment twice. I've had customers return years later after chasing cheaper alternatives because they eventually realized that cheaper often cost them far more in lost performance, frustration, and replacement costs. Now let me explain another thing people misunderstand about oven capacity. You must always leave part of the oven floor free during a heavy service. That recovery zone allows the floor to re-engage thermally. Otherwise, floor temperature collapses during heavy service and suddenly pizzas stop cooking correctly. People often pack ovens completely full because visually it looks impressive. 5 pizzas in oven, 10 pizzas in oven. But operationally, it usually creates poor turning space, lower recovery, slower movement, and inconsistent cooking. You certainly don't have the recovery time. Again, this is why understanding systems matter so much more than social media appearances. Another thing rarely discussed online is operator exhaustion, because ovens change physical working experience massively. Door height, door width, counter height, turning space and peel access. All of these things matter over long trading hours. An uncomfortable oven setup eventually becomes exhausting during a 12-hour festival shift. Small inefficiencies repeated thousands of times quickly create fatigue, and exhausted operators make mistakes. Burnt pizzas, dropped pizzas, slow service, poor communication. That's why workflow design matters just as much as the oven itself. Now let's talk about fuel efficiency. Another huge hidden cost in a badly designed oven is fuel consumption. Poor airflow, poor insulation, poor refractory stability, poor chimney design, all increase wood usage massively, let alone the environment you're standing in. Over the years of operation, these running costs become substantial. A properly designed, low, smooth dome with strong rolling flame characteristics creates better heat distribution, improved efficiency, more stable cooking, and lower fuel use. That matters enormously in commercial operation. Now, over the years, I have watched trends come and go constantly. People chasing the hottest dough trend, the hottest oven trend, the hottest social media trend. But the operators who survive long-term usually focus on consistency, workflow, reliability, customer experience, and repeatability. Because the real goal is not impressing Instagram. It's not Instagram photographs. The real goal is building a profitable, sustainable operation that works in year after year after year. And honestly, the best systems are usually simple, reliable, efficient, and repeatable. In summary then, your oven is the heart of the system. Bigger is not automatically better. And workflow matters more than social media appearances. Process matters more than ego. And reliability matters more than trends. That's just one piece of the puzzle. If you want to understand the full picture of running a successful mobile pizza business, stick around. We'll cover it all on this channel.